Welcome to AIBC Startup Pitch, where we'll see thousands of investors and innovators in blockchain, AI, quantum tech, big data, and the Internet of Things gather in one roof, and that will take place in Dubai on the 25th and 26th of May. And joining me today is Sascha Winter, who is the CEO of MedGroup LLC. He's calling all the way from Dubai. Sascha, thank you so much for your time today.
Hey, thank you for having me. Really exciting to be here.
And we're just a few days away from the AIBC Expo. Now, could you tell us how excited are you for the event and what do you hope to get out of this experience?
To be honest, we're actually at the moment quite busy, so I haven't really much focused on next week, but it will definitely kick in on the weekend. But I must say it is quite exciting thinking about it and having the possibility to meet like-minded entrepreneurs, picking their brains to see what part of their journey are they in and so forth, and then hopefully also meeting investors. I mean, obviously, this is our goal in this case. But I'm just excited to go there and meet people, learn a lot, see what other people, my peer entrepreneurs are up to, what they are doing. And I really hope that we're going to have a fantastic show, which I believe we will.
All right, and Sascha, may the force be with you. Now jumping ahead. Now jumping ahead, you only have 3 minutes to answer 5 questions for the start pitch process. So let's hop right into it. What is MedGroup LLC all about?
Right. So we are basically a conglomerate. What we're doing is we're operating a B2B marketplace for the medical industry, where hospitals can go to our platform, they can find products, they can compare prices, and even purchase those with our fintech solution. On the other hand, for medical suppliers, manufacturers, on the other hand, we unlock a much bigger market for them, giving them more exposure without operating a huge sales apparatus. We're also providing sales intel, such as click ranking, what client has clicked what product, how many times, et cetera, et cetera. But I also must reiterate that we're not a product out of the current COVID situation. We have started that project way before. However, during the pandemic, we have unveiled a lot of vulnerabilities in the supply chain industry when it comes to the medical industry. And a lot of issues have been amplified in that area. Especially in the beginning of the pandemic, when manufacturing countries such as China, for instance, Malaysia, Indonesia, when they have shut down export because they also needed to understand what is happening at the moment, and do we keep our medical supplies to ourselves, and other countries were suffering from that. So we are hoping with our platform we can actually provide a much more stable supply chain.
All right, and what difference can this make to the medical industry?
Well, like I said, before COVID, it was business as usual. Hospitals have their pool of suppliers. They send an RFQ, compare the prices and purchase. Nothing too exciting. And as I've mentioned, what the pandemic has revealed is how fragile the supply chain is. So, as I've mentioned, the certain countries have stopped the export, and so forth and so forth. And on top of that, especially here in Dubai, in the region, one of the major medical distributors here has gone insolvent right at the beginning of the pandemic, which did not really help to satisfy the demand clinics had here. And also what we have seen quite often, unfortunately, is that the pandemic was a golden opportunity for fortune seekers and, I would say, questionable individuals trying to make a quick buck with either faulty or counterfeit products such as masks and so forth. And we had many talks with these so-called medical producers, so that what we do is to verify, background check every hospital, every supplier before they can actually come to our platform to purchase and sell.
You brought up a very factual point right there, Sascha. And what makes you exceptionally different to everyone else in the market?
I have a very close look to our competition globally, as well as regionally as well. And I have identified quite a lot of flaws. There are players in the market in many aspects I personally use as a benchmark, where we can orientate ourselves. But when it comes to payment solutions, for example, is where they only have basically 3 options. You can either purchase cash on delivery, you can do a wire transfer, or you can purchase with a credit card. Not one of them is basically offering what we are offering. We are offering an integrated supply chain fintech model. So hospitals will be given a credit limit, and they can use that on our platform immediately. That credit limit is backed up by our partner bank, Citibank. So that means that we don't need a down payment. They don't need to purchase. They don't need to pay 50% with a purchase order. They don't need a credit card. Hospitals purchase and pay within their payment terms, which can be 30, 60, 90, or even up to 120 days. Because what we do is we have created that model where we can pay suppliers right after delivery. That means that is yet another incentive for them to sell through us. And for the hospital, they don't have to worry about onboarding a new supplier, doing the KYC process, and so forth and so forth. So that means they can immediately send out purchase orders to verified suppliers who are verified and vetted by us. So that means that we can actually increase the turnaround much faster.
Well, that actually sounds great. And where would you like MedGroup to be in 2 years' time?
In about 2 years' time, I would like to see our artificial intelligence system working so that we are basically automatically, or that we can automatically purchase supplies for hospitals given their procurement patterns. So that means that we can read the data from a hospital. We can understand what product they need in what cycles, for example, and that we can take that to the next level by saying, you don't have to worry about sending us a purchase order or you taking care of the purchase order. We will replenish your stock automatically, so that they basically can free up time for other things. And at the same time, we can also probably then be at a level where we can optimize their warehouse or distribution channel, where we can say, you don't have to have a bulk of 3 months worth of supplies in your warehouse. We are going to replenish your stock every 2 weeks. So that means you can actually decrease the size of your warehouse, which in the end of the day also means to save on operational costs. So artificial intelligence that will enable us to automatically purchase for hospitals, as well as to look after their warehouse distribution system, is where I see ourselves in about 2 years.
All right, Sascha, you've briefly told us everything we need to hear about MedGroup. Now, how about you tell us something about yourself that not many people know?
Yeah, I was afraid you were asking me that. Well, I thought long and hard about that, and well, there are a lot of secrets about me which I may or may not tell. But there's actually one thing that is very important to me. It goes personally to my heart as well. I'm a father of a nonverbal son who happens to be on the autism spectrum. And before Samuel was born, yes, I mean, I have heard of autism, but did not really know much about it, and so forth. And of course, when we got the diagnosis, when Samuel was 2.5 years, he's now 8.5. So we're living with that diagnosis for the last 6 years, and I have learned a lot about autism and the research behind it, and so forth and so forth. And it was pretty clear to me from the start that we are going to do something about it. So what I've done is I've pledged to do is to team up with the Duke University in North Carolina, because these guys are spearheading research programs in that field. They're doing stem cell research. They're looking into behavioral therapy research, and so forth and so forth. And the CSR program we have signed up with will be able to donate to their research fund. So that means a certain percentage of every sale that goes through our portal will be channeled through to the folks of the Duke University. And I strongly believe in corporate social responsibility. I mean, yeah, even though we're a startup, we're only 7 people so far, but I would like to instill that CSR thinking into my team right from the start.
Wow, that got me emotional. I mean, thank you so much for sharing this, Sascha. It's great to hear. It's lovely to hear what fuels your passion and forces you to make inspiring changes to the world. So Sascha, thank you so much for talking to me today. I appreciate your time. I wish you all the best, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you very much.